Hey, Sassy Stuff. I'm Emma,
I'm Blythe.
and we're here to talk to you about Ole Miss's upset to the Florida Gators. Let's get to it.
Such a game. Like all weekend, this was insane. This was definitely a huge monumental win for this program and Coach Napier. So much momentum is building around this program now, and just really exciting to see.
I know it kind of seems after Billy Napier knew he was going to keep his job that everything settled and this team really found its spark. DJ Lagway, I am so excited to see what he's going to be doing these next few years. He is a freshman, so he really had to step up when QB1 got knocked out, and he has. Despite dealing with an injury, maybe not being 100%, he had 10 for 17, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have 1 interception, but he was on, and I am so excited to see how he progresses going forward.
He was, and I think the biggest takeaway was obviously his performance, and then also senior running back Montrell Johnson. He
Mhm.
made the most of his final game on that field. He had a season high 107 yards rushing and a touchdown on a season high 18 carries. And after the game, Coach Napier said, "We're just getting started," and this is a big picture, I think, of what this new journey will be for them, and that's super exciting. And obviously has shaken up all of the rest of the playoff now. Now for sure knocking out Ole Miss of the playoff contention. And then obviously we have a couple other games to preview today that have also shook up all of this going forward. But this is a huge win, obviously, for Coach Napier and this program going forward.
And this defense was on fire. They had 3 red zone stops, 9 tackles for a loss, 2 interceptions. Jackson Dart was just shaken the
Yeah.
whole game. And before this, I was scared to play Ole Miss. I was like, that team, I think, will win the Natty. And I still, if they're at their best, if they're doing what we know they can do, I still think they
Mhm.
could have won the Natty. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, Lane Kiffin's a 9-3 team, and he
Yeah.
continues to be a 9-3 team. He did win in the big moment against Georgia, but unfortunately, he couldn't get it done. And you have to finish out. Jackson Dart, though, he broke my heart. He threw an interception, took him off the field. His defense was absolutely incredible, gave him another opportunity. Then he thought he threw another interception, was devastated, and they said, "Oh, wait, no, go back on the field."
Yeah.
And then he
Gotta
threw
be
another one. Oh, my heart went out to him. He was broken by the end of that game, but you can't do that in those moments. You really have to get the
yeah.
job done. He did well though. I mean,
He
he still
did.
got 323 yards. He wasn't as accurate as we know him to be, 24 for 41. Then he did have those 2 official interceptions. Trey Harris, that broke my heart too. He finally got to come back after being out for 3.5 games. He had 1 reception, 43 yards, 1 touchdown, but then he left the game injured. And I know when we previewed this, I was like, do they even need Trey Harris? Like, they have so many weapons and they've been getting the job done without him. Yes, yes, they needed him. They needed him desperately. I think if Trey Harris hadn't left that game, we might be saying something completely different about who the winner is here. They had awful red zone efficiency, 0 for 3, critical turnovers and missed opportunities across the board, but that's just what happens. Florida came to play. They
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 did.
wanted to win on senior day. They wanted to get bowl eligibility, and they did, and
Mhm.
they had standout players, like you said, Montrell Johnson, Bryce Thornton did 2 game-clinching interceptions in the final minutes. Cam Johnson, he anchored that defensive line.
Mhm.
They just showed up to play, and Ole Miss couldn't get it done at the end of the day. So the
Mhm.
Gators is secure bowl eligibility. So
Yeah.
this is amazing. I'm very
Yeah.
excited for them.
And, it's kinda like what we talked about all year in regards to Lane and Ole Miss. It's just how can they get over that hump? And even in his post-game interview, he said, "Obviously, a lot was at stake. We didn't come through, and we missed a lot of opportunities, but when are they going to come through in these big moments?" We this is what we have talked about week in and week out. It's been the same conversation, and it's just when is he going to be able to take this program and push the envelope when it truly matters? It just seems like they fold every time. So I'm not sure where that's coming from. I mean, I don't know if that's a coaching thing or maybe they just weren't ready to play. I'm not sure, but definitely something to take into consideration going into next season when you've came to this point. You show you can compete against the best, obviously. They were in playoff contention. So it's just what is causing them to not be able to push that envelope when it actually matters?
I think moving into next year, a big thing, not just for Ole Miss, but for any team, it's how you perform on the road in these hostile
Yeah.
environments. I feel like a lot of these upsets do happen on the road to teams you really shouldn't lose to and
Mhm.
teams I don't think you would lose to at home. And I don't
Mhm.
know what the disconnect is there. These teams are not as deep as they used to.
Mhm.
Nick Saban said you don't get depth from the portal, you get starters from the portal. So you have to get that depth in high school. And
Yeah.
that's just not how college football is now.
Mhm.
You just don't have the depth that you used to. So if you lose a Trey Harris or
Mhm.
if Jackson Dart isn't performing up to a standard, you who do you really have as the
Yeah.
next man up?
Yep.
Um, Someone probably without as many stars, not as much experience. So it's getting wilder and wilder out there. But again, I just want to praise DJ Lagway. He just
Yep.
showcased so much composure under pressure. He is really building momentum, and I think he's going to do great, great things with this Florida program moving forward. If he chooses to stay there, who knows? um, and
Who
like
knows in this time of college football?
maybe Alabama will take him. They need a QB. Um, but Ole Miss, they officially do fall out of playoff contention. I think they have like a 4% chance. So
Mhm.
it's just not going to happen for them. And they did win in the big moment against Georgia, but you and I both said last week
Yeah.
this is a big moment.
Yeah.
Finishing your season is a big moment, and they just were
Mhm.
not able to get it done. I still think both of these teams have so much to look forward to
Mhm.
next year. And they will both go to bowl games. Hopefully,
Yeah.
Florida goes to the bowl game. They have clinch eligibility. Ole Miss will definitely go to a bowl game. Um, but it's an upset for Lane Kiffin for sure. How's Twitter looking, Blythe?
Pretty rough. That's honestly the first thing I went to when they lost. I said, "Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see the Lane Kiffin Twitter. Just it's gonna be wild. It is going to be wild." He's probably still sleeping, maybe, so he hasn't tweeted that much yet. But
Still
I'm sure
recovering a
it.
little
I'm
bit.
sure it will be coming for sure. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We will see you next week as we preview a rivalry weekend. Thank you.